And this happens a lot of times, you get these things like, why did you come and talk to me? Like, wait, how do I handle that question? Yeah? Have you talked to lots of girls tonight? Yeah? There's that question that makes you go, oh, crap, what do I do with this? And when a woman does it, it's often because she senses a flaw, she sees a weakness, or she sees something that she doesn't trust. So she'll throw something at you and see how you respond to it. All right? And being able to respond to these effectively is going to get you a long way. Because if you fail them, sorry, buddy, you failed the test, you're out. Yeah? So, how does this work? And these don't necessarily, by the way, happen consciously. Sometimes they're unconscious, but it happens, and it'll happen all the time. First of all, never lie. I really can't stress that one enough, actually. This isn't on moral grounds. This is going to save your skin grounds. Don't be lying. Yeah? If you get asked a question that you don't want to tell the whole truth to, yeah? Don't lie, because you will get caught. All right? Women are human lie detectors. And if they don't know you're lying, they're going to suspect you're lying, and that's almost as bad. Don't get caught lying. Find a way to deal with it without having to lie. Number 2, ignore stupid statements completely. Seriously, sometimes, and this is actually a good blanket rule, if someone says something to you, like a guy comes in and he's like, oh, you think you're really cool, don't you, and this, you're trying to pick up this girl. Sometimes, rather than try to have anything to do with him, go, Anyway, so I was out with these friends last week, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, sometimes the best thing to do is ignore. I'll give you some examples where that's the best thing. But it's a good default. So rather than her go, are you a player? And you're like, how am I going to respond to that? Well, last week. Yeah, the best thing to do there is ignore. If you haven't got anything else, no, it's not the smoothest, because she'll likely say, wait up, you didn't ask that question, but sometimes you'll get away with it, so it's okay. But yeah, ignore is better than default. Then, if you've got to buy yourself time, rather than hesitate, ignore. Yeah? Number 3, never argue. Never have I don't mean argue like, but just argue like, never have this logical debate here about a question. Yeah? Not going to work for you. It's not going to work for you having an argument. Okay, if you've ever had an argument with a girlfriend, you'll understand it's not a good idea. They're just better at it. It's really frustrating. Number 4, okay, never say no to a shit test. I'll give perfect examples to these in a minute. But never say no. Don't create a wall. Don't be like, fuck off. Well, no, trust me, I'll give you examples here where you want to say no, but it's still going to hurt you even though you're doing the right thing. Number 5 is never get emotional. Any argument this rule applies, by the way, he who gets emotional first generally is in the weaker position. Yeah, he who gets emotional first is in a weaker position. Yeah. So, and here's the really important thing. If a woman says something to you and she can see that she's bothered you, like imagine you talk to a girl and she says, wait, are you trying to game me? If you get agitated and annoyed by that question, you've gotten emotional. You're lost. Does that make sense? You've got to be careful about how you answer these questions. You can't get emotional. Getting emotionally reactive is completely off the charts. Okay, golden rule though. Golden rule. Assume she was trying to have fun and respond accordingly. So, and this is a really good rule for most things, okay? If someone's giving you shit in an interaction, the best way to respond to this is as though a mate gave you shit for something. Yeah? And you're thinking to yourself, ooh, game on. She's giving me shit, so I'm going to give her shit back in this fun way. That is the best response. If you can respond as though, ooh, she's trying to have fun, as opposed to, because we're all nervous, right? We're all sure she hates our guts. So we go, ooh, she was really mean. She's just a bitch, whatever, I'm going to go away. If we can respond as though she's trying to have fun, and we can respond in that way, like, ooh, game on, blah, and we kind of have fun with it, that's where the win is. Yes? That incorporates throwing shit back. Yes, but it's got to be in jest. It can't be to be mean. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's like teasing. Teasing is meant to be fun. It's not meant to be hurtful, like negging kind of is supposed to hurt them. So it's, yeah, tease them back, absolutely. Yeah, but in that fun way, like you would a mate. Yeah.
Do you avoid the question and tease back?
Depends on the question. Depends on what's coming out. I'll give you some examples, and then if you think of anything particular, ask me. Cool? So I've got some examples. Things that come up. I want to know who the woman was who thought that was a good way to get rid of guys. I want to meet her. I want to have a very stern talking to her. Because that's like a red rag to a bull, right? We're lesbians. Oh, lesbians, you say, right? Now, the thing is, right? It's generally not said in jest. It's generally said as I'm not convinced on you, so whatever, we're lesbians. I'm just going to give you shit. This is one of those situations where I don't play along with it. And the reason is every guy almost plays along with it. Almost every guy is something like says something along the lines of, "Oh, I like lesbians," or "Lesbians are cool," or "Hey, I'm a lesbian too. I like girls." Right? And the thing is, you want to differentiate a little bit from that crowd. So to differentiate from that crowd, what I'll do if I'm talking to some girls, and she goes, "Oh, we're lesbians," like, "Oh, that's cool." Anyway, I was out with some friends last week, and yada 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 yada. Yeah, bullshit statement, whatever. I'm not even going to reward it with attention. No. See, that's the thing, is every guy tries a variation on that. Seems like a good idea, but generally doesn't give you the response you want. So that's an ignore. Why did you come and talk to us? Why did you come and talk to us? This is one of those moments. You have the moment to be honest, to be upfront, to be raw, to be a guy, right? Or have the opportunity to be like, "Oh, well, I just thought I'd come and say hello because my friends were boring and I thought, heck, I'm a social guy." Do you buy that? Do you think she buys that? No. Like I said, don't be caught lying. Okay? Why did you come and talk to us? Well, actually, I thought you were really cute, so I thought I'd come and say hello. That gives you the best chance. Now, she may have said this because she really doesn't like you, or she may have said this because she's not convinced. Yeah? But that, to me, that's your moment to be like, straightforward, straight honest. No bullshit, no making up excuses, no making up lies. Just like the pickup artist question, I'll respond to that because that's on the same vein. If a girl says to you, "Are you learning game? Are you trying to learn game?" Okay? I would urge you not to try to be subversive. Because when you're caught, who's been caught? Who's been asked that question before when they're talking to girls? I'm sure some of you have. And if you're subversive, which I imagine most of you were the first time you were asked that question, how did the women then respond to you? Did they suddenly become a bit cagey and a bit untrusting? Yes. Yes. Very dangerous. If a woman senses you're lying, always very dangerous. Right? But again, it's all in how it is then framed. Yeah? It's how you own that. So are you practicing game? You say, "Well, actually, yeah, I really want to be more confident with women. I'm trying to work on this part of what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be sleazy. I'm just trying to be better at being charming and being funny, and how am I going?" Yeah? Now, that's the thing. I'm not being ashamed of it. I'm not thinking there's anything wrong with it. I'm just being honest. You know what? I do want to get better in this part of my life. I'm trying to work on it conscientiously. Does that make sense, guys? And you can do any variation of those words, but again, it's how you phrase it. If you go, "Oh, yeah, you got me. I'm so horrible, and I'm nervous, and I'm shy," and that's not going to work. It's about owning it. It's like, you know what? Yes, I am. I'm trying to be better in this area of my life. You can't hold that against someone. Some women can because, again, there's a lot of really creepy stuff going on in the pickup industry at large. If they've heard about it, they're going to be a little bit worried. But that is your best starting point to be honest. Every time. Trust me, they're not expecting you to man up and go, "You know what? You're right. I am. They're not expecting it, right? So that's hitting them with a thing of, "Oh, okay, he's doing something I don't like, but he's very honest about it." Yeah? That's another one of those areas. That's how I would prefer to respond. I've seen guys respond that way. It happened to students occasionally, and interactions still go really well afterwards. This one, "I think you should buy my friend a drink." Well, have you ever had that before? "I think you should buy me a drink. I think you should buy my friend a drink." You guys had that before? Okay, and should you buy her a drink when she requests it like that? No, very dangerous thing, right? Who said no before? And did it suddenly get really awkward? Yes. Because there's the thing, right? They're going, "I think you should buy me a drink." Or the friends come in and go, "I think you should buy my girlfriend a drink." And then you go, "No." And then it's like, right? They're like, "Well, he's really stingy," or "He's blah, 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 blah." Doesn't work. So this is what I class as what I call an unfair request. And this is a good life skill to have. Get out of the habit of saying no. Get into the habit of thinking, under which condition would I be willing to say yes? Yeah? You can create, you got a few ways to go around this. First of all, you could say, "Well, okay, I'll tell you what, if you can guess what I do for work in 3 guesses, I'll buy you a drink. If not, though, you've got to buy me a drink." And if you feel really cocky, you can top it off with, "Because it was probably rude to ask." But don't necessarily do that unless you know you can get away with it. Yeah? That's one example. You just create a condition. I'll do it, but only if you can match this condition. Yeah? It's the best way to answer anything that is an unfair request. It doesn't have to be those words. It doesn't have to be that phraseology. It's creating a condition. Yeah, I can do that under these conditions. Yeah, because then she's the one to say no. Here's another example of something that does come up. Let's say that you live out of Coogee and a girl lives out of Parramatta, right? And you've got to have a date with her again. And she's starting to think, well, this seems like a really nice guy. He'll probably do whatever I ask him. And she says to you, hey, it's a bit cold out. Would you mind coming and picking me up for our date? Coogee to Parramatta, back to the city, back to Parramatta, back to Coogee. It's a big ask. If you're not if you're not girlfriend or boyfriend, that's a sizable ask. You're probably not comfortable doing that. You could say no. Or you could say, well, look, I'll tell you what, I can head out and pick you up. Probably head off in the next half hour, be there in time. But it's going to be pretty late by the end, so you know what, you'll have to crash at my place and we'll get you back in the morning. Now, she may say no, and that's cool, but guess who just said no then? Her. At which point you can say, oh, that's cool, you know what, we'll just organize it for next week. You never had to say no. No, not necessarily. But you didn't have to say no, that's the thing. You didn't have to say no. You create a condition, you can create any condition you like. It doesn't have to be one that she's necessarily going to say yes to, but it's a condition, yeah, that she'll have to meet for you to be willing to say yes. It's just like if I said to one of you guys, hey, I really like your shirt, man. Can I get your shirt? Can I have it tonight? Instead of saying, no, man, I fucking got nothing else to wear, you can say, well, I'll tell you what, man, if you give me $500, you can have this shirt. Yeah? It's a much better response than I'm going to say, no, that's too much to pay. But I'm the one saying no. It's a very good little life skill to have there. Then we've got this one, Mr. at the back. I'm a player. Are you a player? Yes. There's a problem with this question, because this question's asking a lot of things. Okay, what defines a player? What is a player, guys? Sleeps around. Yeah. What else does he do? He lies. Yes. He lies. He manipulates. He plays games. He's like, oh, I love you, sweetheart. You're the only one. Yeah, that's what he's doing, right? That's a player. That's what the player does. This is all the parts of being a player. So here's the thing. Are you a player? That's a big question. A lot of things are being asked. How will I deal with a question like that? Not by lying. It's going to be very dodgy. You're likely to get asked that question when you're coming across really confident. Yeah, that's when you're going to risk getting asked that question. Yeah, I can be at risk of getting asked that question. Yeah, and here's the thing. She's asking you a lot of things at once because that word has a lot of connotations. Yeah? How am I going to respond? Well, I'm not going to be lying. What I'm going to be doing is answering the question but making sure I hit the nail on the head. I might say to her, well, you know what? I enjoy being single. But the thing is that I hate the idea of lying to anyone. I never lie to anyone to get what I want. I'm always very straightforward about the things I want in life. That's how I'm going to reply to that question. Does that make sense? Why? Because the biggest thing for me, again, is I'm not lying. Whatever I say to you is going to be straight out, honest. And if she wants to ask me more questions about that, she will. Yeah, but it's in how you frame it. Because if you go, fuck, hell yeah, I'm a player, yeah. Goodbye. It's not going to work, in your favor. Yeah. So most of you aren't trying to be players. Most of you are trying to be sexually liberated guys who are true to who they are. Slightly different things. Yeah, it's glorified, but in a woman's mind, when that question is asked, it's dangerous. Yeah, so these are some of the things that come up. Lots of them come up, yeah? And it's about thinking, what's the best way to handle this? And trust me, the honesty, she's trying to call me on my bullshit, and I'm demonstrating I have no bullshit. That comes with a lot of weight and a lot of interactions. You can, but then you risk getting too logical. Yeah, it's not the worst way to go, but then you can get this logical debate about what a player is. And there is another way to handle these questions, but I don't find it as ideal. Okay, another way to think about it. You know the politicians lie? Yeah. It's where let's say a woman says to you, are you a player? Right, you meet her at the Ivy, she goes, are you a player? Or she goes, how many other girls did you hit on while you were at the Ivy last night? You can say, man, isn't it funny with the Ivy? Hey, the place used to start out so clean, and now it's just become a meat market. It's like this pickup joint. It's gone downhill in such a horrible way. It's the most bizarre thing. It's like freaking pickup central. It's crazy. Whose fault is that? Right, now the thing is, just like a politician, you didn't answer the question. You asked a slightly different question related to the question she asked without having to answer it, but it's subversive. Yeah, and it's not as good as the direct option. Yeah, but that's one of the ways you can play around without having to lie. You answer a different question. But if women feel you're being subversive, you lose some points.